my name is Mrs. Smith. I understand that you're taking over your family business and you want some help with the management. Let me present some different management tools. So what is a management tool? It's a tool to analyze the reality and execute the strategy. It can also be defined as an abstraction to understand a complex real-world problem or situations. Models only include the major aspects of the complex reality for a clear analytical framework. In this respect, management tools can enable users to analyze the reality to define and execute the strategy, better serve customers, engage with employees, and monitor performance of business. There are tools for entrepreneurs or managers to run the companies effectively. To this end, they should understand these tools and their limitations well. Retailing is a distribution channel function where a company buys merchandise from suppliers or manufacturers and then sells directly to consumers in small quantities through shops or other outlets. Every retailer must identify how to develop competitive capabilities to enhance customer value. With that regard, retail companies' owners or managers should also be aware and capable of using management tools. Moreover, due to the nature of retail business, retailing requires some tools more than others. The most important management tools for retailers are the following: retail store site selection, the customer profile and sales management, CRM, customer relationship management, retail business inventory management, and financial control and cash management. In the following pages, I'll discuss more. So let's start with the first management tool, which is retail store site selection. The most critical decision for a retail store is its site selection. Every day we see new retail stores starting business and disappearing in a few years because of inappropriate location. Intense competition from big box stores, outlet shopping areas, and online retailers has resulted in more shopping center operators utilizing social media to lure and retain customers. Social media programs have covered traditional marketing methods at many properties. So the objectives of site selection is to find the best location, alternative in terms of majority to the key success factors. There are a lot of critical factors that directly affect the cost of location. For example, rent of a store is different at different areas, and selecting best alternative in terms of cost and market condition is a crucial issue. The assessment of general locations and the specific sites within them require extensive analysis. In any area, the optimum site for a particular store is called the 100% location. This location differs by kind of store. Each alternative location should be rated on all the criteria, and an overall rating is developed for each alternative. Two firms may rate the same site differently based on their needs. The number of key success factors for a retail store are numerous. They can be pedestrian traffic, vehicular traffic, parking facilities, are there mass transportation available, customer likes, store composition, nearness to resources, suppliers, etc. Besides low wage rates, productivity should be considered also. Employees with poor training, poor education, or poor work habits are not a good buy. Moreover, employees who cannot or will not reach their place of work are not much good to the organization. So different methods for site selection. There are several methods that can be used to make a selection between alternative locations. The first is the factor rating method, which evaluates alternatives in terms of key success factors. The second is the center of gravity method, which assumes that cost is directly proportional to both distance and volume shipped. For service facilities, revenue is assumed to be directly proportional to proximity to markets. And the third, the location break-even analysis, which has 3 steps. Step 1, determine fixed and variable costs for each location. Step 2, plot the cost for each location with costs on the vertical axis of the graph and annual volume of the horizontal axis. Step 3, select the location that has the lowest total cost for the expected production volume. Second management tool is customer profile and sales management. Can also be CRM, customer relationship management. So, the most important component or target of a retail business activity is the customer. Regarding sales management for retail business companies, the integration of enterprise system and the supply chain to an organization is becoming more critical in an ever-changing, globally competitive environment. As market mature and customer preferences become more diverse and specific, quick response to these needs is required to maintain competitive advantage. This quick response will require close relationships, especially communication and information sharing among integrated internal functional groups, as well as the suppliers and customers of an organization. All business companies, or particularly those in the ever-growing service sector, should be aware of their customers' identity and needs. This is basically called customer focus. If a business knows its customers really well, then it will be more capable of adopting the right competitive strategy. To this end, firstly, the customer base should be clarified. Customer base. The analysis of market conditions and understanding customer profile requires a detailed study. What you need to understand is the needs to be analyzed in terms of population and lifestyle trends, attitudes towards and reasons for shopping, the level of loyalty, and the mix of new versus loyal customers. Gender roles are changing. Shoppers demand more. Consumers are more diverse. There is less interest in shopping, and time-saving goods and services are desired. Core customers, which are a retailer's best customer, the ones with whom it's worth nurturing relationships. A retailer's desired mix of new versus loyal customers depends on that firm's stage in its life cycle, goals and resources, as well as competitors' actions. A mature firm is more apt to rely on core customers. A new firm faces a dual task of attracting shoppers and building a loyal following. If goals are growth-oriented, the customer base must be expanded by adding stores, increasing advertising, etc. Attracting new customers is more costly than serving existing ones. If competitors try to take away a firm's existing customer, a retailer may feel it must pursue competitors' customers in the same way. Customer Relationship Management, CRM, is one of the most useful tools for enterprise resource and planning system. It is an attempt by an organization to retain its customers by fostering their perception that they each have a relationship with it beyond the mere buying and selling of products. Customer service is a development of specific policies and procedures to care for customers. The system is a suite of application, a database, and a set of inherent processes for managing all the interactions with the customer from lead generation to customer service. Contacts and transactions with customers are recorded in the CRM database. Vendors of CRM system claim that using their products makes the organization customer-centric. Though that term reeks of sales hyperbole, it does indicate the nature and intent of CRM packages. The tool is retail business inventory management. This is the most expensive part of a retail business company has, which is the inventories, and managers spend most of the time for inventory management. An inventory is a list of items or goods. Inventory and stock control are interchangeably used concepts. These are various types of inventory depending upon the context or situations. For example, inventory in a library means the list of books, journals, periodicals, furniture, fans, etc. A typical firm carries different kinds of inventories such as raw materials and purchased parts, partially completed goods called work in progress or work in process, finished goods or merchandise in retail stores, replacement parts, tools and supplies, goods in transit to warehouse or customers. The overall objective of inventory management is to achieve satisfactory levels of customer service while keeping inventory costs within reasonable limits. Three basic costs associated with inventory management are holding or inventory carrying costs, ordering or set-up costs, and shortage costs. The objective of an inventory control system is to minimize total cost of inventories while determining economic order quantity and ordering time. The performance of inventory management systems. The performance can be measured in the following terms: customer satisfaction or inventory turnover. Related to customer satisfaction, this is measured by the number and quantity of back orders and/or customer complaints. if the customer's complaints are less than the customer satisfaction is high, and vice versa. Inventory turnover. This is the ratio of annual costs of goods sold to average inventory investment. It is a widely used measure. The turnover ratio indicates how many times a year the inventory is sold. The higher the ratio, the better, as it implies more efficient use of inventory. It can be used to compare companies in the same industry. Days of inventory on hand, the expected number of days of sales that can be supplied from existing inventory. A balance is desirable, as high numbers of days might imply excess inventory, while a low number of days might imply a risk of running out of stock. One of the most time-consuming tasks a retail manager will face in operating a retail store is keeping up with stock. Unless you have a very narrow product mix, you'll spend a significant chunk of time tracking inventory. Although it requires work and discipline to maintain, a good inventory system will make it easier to meet the needs of your customers, and of course is the key to growing a successful business. Let's move to financial control and cash management. Financial control. Many small businesses fail due to lack of proper financial control. Basically, we can define financial control as the policies and procedures of a company or organization to manage, monitor, and report its financial resources and transactions. In other words, financial control enables the manager to monitor all activities within the company, to adopt and implement a financial strategy accordingly. Accounting and financial statements. Accounting is a company function that serves recording and following all business transactions. With the help of accounting, 3 major financial statements are built: the balance sheet, the income statement, and the cash flow statements. The balance sheet indicates what the company has, the assets for example, and how they have been acquired or financed. The income statement or profit-loss statement compares revenue against expenses for a particular period, for example a month or a year, to show the company's net profit or loss. The cash flow statement indicates the change in the company's working capital between the beginning and the end of a particular period. Therefore, financial control covers all aspects of a business, such as sales and costs, recording and reporting, budgeting, stock control, and cash management. Sound financial control is the key to any company's success, particularly to small ones. There are generally 2 main financial pitfalls in business. They are undercapitalization and loose customer credit policies. Both of these are directly related to cash management. Any business is initiated with a certain amount of capital, and the major objective of the business is to get a reasonably high return on invested capital. Many entrepreneurs mistakenly assume that they can start their companies on a small amount of money. These companies are undercapitalized and likely to face liquidity or cash flow problems, as normal companies need increasing amounts of cash to fuel their growth. To this end, debt financing can be an option, but debt must be paid back when it's due, and the payment will be made by cash. With this regard, the issue of customer credit policy should also be in our agenda. Cash management. In retail business, cash flow starts when owners invest funds. Owners may be using their own funds or sometimes someone else's. For example, they can take a loan. In any case, all cash goes to the cash pool of the business. Then, that cash is used to acquire assets, which may be fixed as buildings, office equipment, trucks and cars, or assets can also be in the form of merchandise, as in the case of retailing. Cash is also used for hiring personnel to pay salaries and wages, as well as other expenses. When the merchandise is sold to customers, new cash returns back to the cash pool again, and then the same flow repeats itself continuously. This cycle requires close scrutiny because owner or manager of a business can only control his company if she really knows how much cash is needed, how much cash is available, and how much cash is used, and how much is left, or if there is an additional cash need. If you have enough cash on hand, you can pay suppliers, employees, and others on time. In addition, ample cash means being able to invest in new business opportunities, to generate additional revenue and profit. However, cash assets that are idle or not in proper use means wasting valuable profit opportunities. That is why we should understand how cash flow management can affect small businesses. Many small companies are forced to sell on credit. Sometimes a company may have cash flow problems, though the company's sales and profitability can be quite high. If it is pursuing a loose customer credit policy, for example, that can happen. Being profitable in accounting terms does not guarantee to be capable of paying debts back when the sales are on credit and poor collection practices are present. In other words, even those companies that are profitable and asset rich could face liquidity difficulties to meet their obligations due on time, and this may cause bankruptcy. That is why business owners must understand that cash and profits are not the same. Profit or net income is the difference between a company's total revenue and total expenses. It is an accounting concept indicating how efficiently a business in operation. In contrast, cash is readily available money to be used in business, and it refers to a company's liquidity and thus ability to pay its debt and bills on time. So, briefly, cash management involves forecasting, collecting, investing, dispersing, and planning for the cash a business needs to operate smoothly. It is particularly important in retailing because financial management in retailing has some specifications that make it different from financial management in general. Retailing requires significant amount of financial investment in merchandise, personnel, and real estate. Therefore, to get a good return on investment, financial management in a retail company should focus on budgeting, performance measure, and resource allocation in connection with analyzing the present business as well as estimating the future business.